All right.
Let's do it.
Let's start the timer. All right, Boye. Let's first talk about you said the culture on this team is yet to be defined. Can you explain a little bit of that to the fans and what you mean?
You know, we're finding ourselves. You know, like you said, there's a new team, there's a new coach, a new regime. So we really are figuring out what we want to identify as. And of course, we want to be the best. We're chasing greatness. So in that way, what does that look like for us? And that's the question we're answering right now, and we're figuring it out as we go.
Does it feel like as a defensive player, and you have a defensive-minded head coach, and you had one in Pete Carroll as well, but Mike comes in here with a different defense. Does it help you as a defensive player to have a defensive-minded head coach?
I mean, it's lovely, you know. One of those things that you like as a defensive player, you know, he's focusing on the defense. You have that time with him. And with their center focus on us, it, you know, helps us really get the details and really iron out. And he wants to make sure that this defense comes alive. So that's definitely helpful.
You talk a little bit about your offseason because your window for vacation is so small in the NFL. But you had a chance to take your family to Belize, and that had to mean something really special to you. What did it mean to be able to take them?
It meant the world to me. You know, it's one of the things that, you know, we've actually talked about. And even growing up, my dad used to take us on family vacations, you know, across the country and different places, and going to Florida, LA, and, you know, so I've seen a couple. We did that, and we had that kind of that tradition. So just as life has been getting crazy, and, you know, family grows up, people move away, people get jobs, and life gets real busy. So just being able to have that time to really come together and celebrate and spend time together, honestly, it meant the world to me.
You can tell that you guys are tied as a family just from the draft night when everybody went crazy at your house and when you were picked. And it's fun to see all of that. So it's how important is it really for your growth as you continue as a young man to have that strong family connection?
I mean, it means the world to me. Every time I don't know what's going on, or if I have a question, the people I lean on is my family. They're the first people I call, any question I have, or just being an adult in general. You know, I had to figure out how to grow up and take care of myself and go through, you know, from being a college student to now being an adult. They're the people I call and the people I talk to about any decisions I need to be made.
Okay, you talk about growing up, and I bring you back to I read a great article about your Nigerian heritage and the fact that you, as a teenager, went to Nigeria for a year, and you said it was really tough. But boy, it must have been incredible for your growth mentally and physically, huh?
100%. You know, I feel like it's night and day, and the things that I grew, you know, I learned respect. I learned how to work hard. I learned a lot of things of, you know, being on your own, and the things that, you know, in America may be different, and you have like access and things like that. But in Nigeria, it's really family oriented. The culture is very strong there, regardless of, you know, family or not. The culture, you teach it through anybody in the community. It takes a village to raise a child, and they have that village mentality.
Your cousin said that when you came back, you were huge. I mean, you went from you got taller, heavier, more muscular. You come back, and he said, as you were the youngest member of your family, you're always the tough guy, and you never cried, and you left marks on the wall, and it didn't even bother you. How true is that statement?
I feel it's very true. I mean, it's one of the things that, you know, as a young child, I was probably 5 years younger than all my cousins and my siblings. So, yeah, I was always, if I wanted to hang out with the older crowd, I had to toughen up. And it's one of the things that if I want to be hanging out with them or have fun with them, I can't be the little kid that, you know, cries, or that, oh, you can't hang out or play football with us or play basketball with us because you're not strong enough. So that's where that kind of built into me.
Yeah, you learned that at an early age. That's good. How much did that kind of an upbringing help you build your character as you went to Minnesota and developed your college football game, and then now here in the NFL?
One thing I credit that to is honestly my father. You know, having him in my household, he really taught me hard work. You know, he's taught me work in the dark, don't work in the light. And I always used to wake up, and he run his own business, and he could pick his own hours, and he can work whenever he wanted to. But one thing I always remember and stood out to me, honestly, was when I'd get ready for school at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, he's already in his office, crunching numbers, on the phone, working. And he did that day in and day out, and I just always noticed that he wasn't a person that really does his work in the light. He didn't need people to see him doing his work. He didn't need to see people how hard he worked, but he just did the work that was needed. And when I got to college, it translated, and I took that to heart. And when I went to football, I'd go to practice, and I'd have my time by myself, and I'd find times when it would just be me on the field or me by myself working out or working on my game. And that translation of him showing me that he worked in the dark, I took it to heart, and I pride myself on working in the dark and not working for the cameras or the whatever that comes with it, but just to do the work because it's needed and that's what's necessary.
Yeah, work in the dark, not in the light. I like that. I've never heard that before. One last question for you. Your sister likes to make fun of you when you were a kid because you were so rambunctious and running around, and she said you even made a WWE heavyweight champion belt out of cardboard, and you ran around saying you were the WWE champ.
Oh, for sure.
So how much fun was that? Just like, that must be a great memory for you just as a child.
For sure. I mean, my dad probably hates it, but I used to make him all the pay-per-view fights, and I try to get those on the TV, and I used to love WWE and watching that, and I try to emulate that. I remember I used to be in the living room, I'd set up some pillows and blankets and create my little ring in the house, jumping off the couches and messing around and acting as if I won the match. So that definitely was a memory for sure.
You still watch it on Mondays and Fridays? Like, do you watch any of that?
Sadly, I grew out of it, so not too much anymore, but I definitely was a fan.
Now you do it on the field.
Exactly.
All right, Boye, thanks.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.